Welcome back to my channel, spooky friends. Today's mask from Dead by Daylight is GhostFace. Let's get spooky. Alright, today's beauty is gonna be Sir GhostFace. I decided to try my hand at creating the demon GhostFace from the Dead by Daylight skins, and I love how it turned out. Now, I definitely know that you could just buy these on Amazon, the plastic ones that are pre-made and perfect, but I really wanted to give it a try creating my own, and I absolutely love how it turned out. You could definitely add like a block out thing here so it doesn't have the eye holes showing, but I just did this to see if I could do it. The mouth shape was gonna be super difficult, but I wanted to do it, so I did. As you can see, it turned out fucking great. Really, really good. And it's still using just those base masks, the masquerade ones. So I didn't set this one up to be worn. Most of these masks are gonna stay hanging up. So I have added wire onto the back of them so that they can hang on the wall. But yeah, I'm really excited with how this turned out. There is a few extra materials for this mask, in particular for the jaw portion. I used a little bit of wire and masking tape to achieve that. And you'll need a little bit of clay because we did sculpt the horns out of clay and then used rigid wrap strips for the base of them. But those are the only two materials that are anything different than the bunny mask and the trapper mask. So if you have leftover materials from those other two that you've created, you could create this one. I would say that 1 pound of the plaster powder was able to create all three of these. Besides me screwing up a couple of times. Excuse me. I think 1 pound is perfectly enough. And just like before, I'm gonna list all the materials down below so that you can click on them. None of them are affiliate links. I'm not that cool. So they're all just links to exactly what I bought. But yeah, let's get creating and get fucking spooky. Getting started with the base, it already has a U-shaped piece of wire taped to the bottom. That's literally all I did in the size and shape that you want it. And I've drawn some guidelines on for the shapes of the GhostFace mask. With a mixture that's super thin of 50 parts water, 50 parts plaster paste, I'm going over with a thin coat all over the jaw area as well as like around the eyes and all of the shapes that I've created so that all of the tape is covered. That's basically what we're doing here. As the mixture gets thicker, you're going to want to create the thicker raised parts of the mask. So that's around the eyes, going through the nose area, and around the mouth, because the face for the mouth area has like a little raised area and an indent, kind of like what you would have with like lips around a very exaggerated jaw. So as long as that area is thicker, it's gonna achieve the goal that we're going for. So I'm taking one of my Tounge Depressors here and taking the globs of the plaster paste that get thicker as the plaster sits, and I'm creating that border around the mouth area so that it's very raised up. The mask has a peaked nose, so near that nose area you really want to get rid of it and make that area as raised up as possible. And then you're just going to be using your paintbrush to go over and over with thinner layers when you make new batches of the plaster paste. Take your time, but also get those areas raised up where you need them right away. Around the eye sockets on the lower side and the upper side, and around the mouth. I would focus on the mouth first to get it into the shape that you want, and make sure not to go too far onto the lower area of the mask because you're going to be cutting that away, because the Scream face, Ghost face, does not have a defined chin area. And it was really helpful to use both tongue depressors and a paintbrush for this process. If the mixture needs to be very, very smoothed out, then just use a squirt bottle with water in it to spray it down, and then really stroke and smooth out the areas on the face that are too lumpy with that sprayed on water. Otherwise, it's not going to be as smooth as a finish as you want it to be. But honestly, this is kind of more of a show than tell in terms of what happened, because you're just building and smoothing around your template that you've drawn onto the mask, and really raising up above the eyes, below the eyes, and that mouth area is going to be key. So just take your time, but also make sure you're adding those thicker parts of the paste onto the raised areas. Where I've drawn the nose on this is not where it ended up being. I ended up taking off half of that nose and painting over it with the paste and making it slightly down further. So just keep that in mind, keep a reference photo up, and use that paintbrush to your advantage. Really smoothing things out. Keep that spray bottle of water near you, smooth everything out, and put globs underneath the eyes, over the eyes, and around the mouth, and you should be good. For the horns, I made 2 horns out of clay, the same clay that I've used in previous tutorials that doesn't air dry. I'm taking rigid wrap strips in extremely hot water, but not so hot that I can't touch it, and I'm dipping those strips in, squeezing them out, and then wrapping them around the horns. You can even lay the horn down on the table and roll it around the horn itself. It was kind of hard to film this part because you're just simply wrapping the rigid wrap and smoothing it out along the horn, and then waiting for it to all dry, which can take an hour or 2, and then scooping through the bottom, the clay out, letting them dry even more, and then gluing them with hot glue onto the mask once the mask has dried. Don't forget, that mask needs to sit 24 hours before you do any of the hot gluing and any of the painting. We're base painting this mask black. So you're going to do a full coat of black acrylic paint over the front and the back of the mask, and then let it sit for a few hours so it's completely dry. Once it's completely dry, we're going over with a normal bright red shade on top of it, and you're letting it dry. It's okay if some of the black seeps through. It looks a little weathered and a little tethered, so just let it go. You're all right. You're keeping the mouth and the eye sockets and nose area black fully. And that's it, baby. I freaking love how this turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And our next mask is gonna be something a little different. So just to get you guys started with a little sneak peek, I have already created the base of this twice now. So the tutorial that you're gonna see, the next item, a little hinteroonie. This was the failed experiment for the next mask, but you'll get to see that next week. I'm really excited. Once I get done with that mask, I've already started on the mask after that. And it's gonna be sick. So, like, comment, and subscribe. Stick around for a while. We're going through all of the Dead by Daylight killers, either with a prop, a mask, or a headpiece, depending on, you know, which killer it is. If a killer doesn't have a mask or, you know, like a headdress or something like that, like I know Hag doesn't really have, she's got like a full face and hair moment, so it's not really a mask. I might try to create her weapon. And then there's some surprises in the works for a couple of the other killers, and I hope they turn out. So hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all my videos, and the notification bell just so that you know when I'm posting. Generally, the videos have been going up every Friday, so keep a lookout for Friday, Saturday kind of posting schedule from here on out. Thanks again for watching, and as usual, stay spooky, friends.